Back with our series, State of Education. For the past week, Fox 25 has been exploring the state of education in Oklahoma and investigating the real issues facing our classrooms.
Tonight, Fox 25's Phil Cross takes on an issue that's talked about in the halls of the Capitol, but publicly, it can certainly be politically toxic. He continues our series now.
Oklahoma is at the bottom of a lot of lists when it comes to education, but one list we're at the top of is the number of school districts, and there's one word that is often talked about in discussion at the Capitol, but can be political suicide if mentioned in the wrong setting: consolidation. But is that a real solution for improving education? It's just before dawn.
I've drove the bus since my first day here, 11 years now.
On a crisp fall morning.
Lots of guys go a lot further than I do.
Landon Lewis gets to watch the sunrise as he picks up his portion of Ellick Public Schools' 300-some kids. But Mr. Lewis is not just a bus driver.
You ready for today? All right.
His day job is teaching music.
I really wouldn't. I wouldn't trade the years I've been teaching for anything.
We came to Ellick's to see what makes a small school tick. And because more than 60% of all kids in Oklahoma go to a school that has less than 1,000 students.
Really all about 10 years of my life I've been here in Ellick's.
Isaac Byrne is now the elementary school principal of the elementary school he attended. He's also co-athletic director and transportation director.
During the course of the day, I got to work on scheduling athletic events, scheduling transportation, all those types of things. So the day can go pretty quickly.
With everyone doing a little bit of everything, the problems in education can be amplified, like the teacher shortage. Selling a job as a teacher isn't as easy as it used to be, and trying to convince someone to move to a town that's well off the beaten path.
No, this probably not a place I would look, but I wouldn't change it.
Sharissa Byrne is a city girl who learned to love a small town, in part because her husband wanted to move back home. If you haven't figured it out, he's the elementary principal.
I think every teacher in a large school or every administrator in a large school should visit and take a role of a small school teacher administrator.
Ellick's is one of hundreds of small schools that dot the Oklahoma landscape, but how did we get so many districts?
It was how far a person on a horse could go in a day.
State Senator Kyle Loveless says Oklahoma used to have more than 1,000 districts, now a little more than 500. Oklahoma is one of the top 10 states in the nation for districts per capita, but is much further down in the rankings when it comes to population and number of students.
We're basically saying it's more important to us to keep 512 superintendents employed versus educating our children.
Loveless believes we can spend more on teachers and students if we cut down on administration, having some districts share superintendents and other executive staff, because while state law limits superintendent salaries as a percentage of a school's budget, total administrative costs have grown in many schools.
We can have the same people doing multiple jobs, and guess what? By having less people, we can actually pay them more. We can pay them what they probably deserve.
Absolutely not. And anybody who says that has actually never done the job.
Ellick's superintendent, Jason James, is more than just the leader of a school. He's the district's chief cheerleader.
Those people don't value the relationships that we develop to make schools successful.
Dr. James says it isn't the number of positions he or his staff holds, it's the connection to the community that makes it all work. Dr. James says a part-time superintendent couldn't make those connections with the community that keeps them both informed and enthused about the school.
It doesn't matter if we're having a Christmas musical. Our community comes out and supports our kids, and without that, education is very difficult.
It's hard to tell if Ellick's is the exception or the rule when it comes to small schools. But they are not just surviving, they are thriving, in no small part due to the overwhelming support of the community, which is fully invested in the next generation. As opposed as many schools are to consolidation, it has happened, and some districts are already voluntarily combining administrative expenses. But schools hoping to avoid that fate are trying to get by with less. Tomorrow night, Keaton Fox will tell us what's being cut back on to save schools. Phil Cross, Fox 25 News.
This is the fourth part of our series on the state of Oklahoma education.
You can find the other segments on our website. Just go to okcfox.com.